All right, let's dive right in. Out in the middle of the Sahara Desert, there is a structure so huge, so unbelievably perfect, that astronauts actually use it as a landmark from space. The big question is it just a freak of nature, or could it be something much, much more?
Because that something more is a theory that has grabbed the imagination of people all over the world. Could this giant bullseye in the sand really be the location of the legendary lost city of Atlantis?
Okay, so what are we actually looking at here? Well, its official name is the Richat Structure, and you can find it in Mauritania. But let's be honest, pretty much nobody calls it that. It's way better known as the Eye of the Sahara. And, I mean, you can see why, right? The name is perfect. And just to try and wrap your head around the scale of this thing, it's 40 kilometers, or about 25 miles straight across. It is so unbelievably massive that its true, perfect circular shape wasn't even really known until we sent people into orbit and they looked down. So how in the world does a remote geological feature get tangled up with an ancient myth about a city that sank into the sea? Well, it all starts with a story, a really, really old one, from one of history's most famous minds. The whole theory, every bit of it, comes from the writings of the ancient Greek philosopher Plato. He described this incredible city, Atlantis, that was built in a series of perfect concentric rings of land and water. And this is where it gets interesting. When you put Plato's description right next to a picture of the Richat structure, the similarities are kind of spooky. Concentric rings? Check. A central island or dome? Check. I mean, that bullseye appearance, it's an uncanny match. Okay, but hold on. A thriving city in the middle of one of the planet's harshest deserts? That sounds impossible. And it would be, except we have to remember that the Sahara wasn't always the desert we know today. To even consider this theory, we've got to rewind the clock.
And it's true. The Sahara used to be green. For thousands of years, during what scientists call the African humid period, this whole region was a lush savanna. We're talking rivers, huge lakes, tons of wildlife, an absolutely perfect place for a civilization to set up shop.
So the environment was right at one point. That makes an ancient settlement at least plausible. But what about the structure itself? What do the rocks tell us? What does geology say about how this incredible eye was actually formed? Now, before we get to what it is, let's talk about what it isn't. When you see a giant circle from space, the first logical guess is usually an asteroid impact, right? But scientists have looked into this, and it's been totally debunked. There's none of the telltale evidence, like shocked rock, that you'd find at an impact site.
The real story is a tale of geology playing out over 100 million years. It started with molten rock deep underground pushing up, creating a massive dome of rock layers, kind of like a giant blister. Then, for eons, wind and water just went to work, shaving off the top. As the layers were exposed, the harder rock resisted erosion, leaving those perfect ridges, while the softer rock washed away, creating the valleys. Nature itself sculpted those rings.
Okay, so on one side, we've got a powerful myth that happens to match up with some amazing visuals. On the other side, we have a really clear scientific explanation for what we're seeing. So how do we square these two things? Well, when you put the myth and the reality side by side, the Atlantis theory starts to fall apart. The myth describes a man-made city. Science shows us it's a natural dome. Plato's Atlantis was a major seaport. The Richat structure is hundreds of kilometers from the ocean. And then there's the biggest issue of all. The bottom line from archaeologists is crystal clear. Despite how much it looks like the description, no one has ever found a single ruin, a piece of pottery, a foundation, absolutely no signs that a large-scale city ever existed there. But here's the amazing part. Just because it's not Atlantis doesn't mean it isn't incredible. The real story that these rocks tell is, in its own way, just as epic and fascinating. I mean, this place is an absolute treasure. You can find marine fossils here from a time when this was all the bottom of an ancient sea. You can find stone tools left behind by early humans who lived here when the Sahara was green. It's like an open-air museum, showing off millions of years of our planet's history. So, in the end, the Eye of the Sahara probably isn't the story of a lost civilization. It's the story of our planet itself, a story of deep time, incredible geological forces, and the endless dance between uplift and erosion. It truly is a story written in stone, big enough for us to read from space. And that really leaves you with one final thought, doesn't it? The Eye of the Sahara is this giant reminder that our world is full of incredible histories etched right into the land itself. It just makes you wonder, what other stories are out there, written in the stone of our planet, just waiting to be discovered?
History isn't flat, it has depth. Follow the thread. Subscribe. The next fracture is already forming.